The cameras were live, no delay, no safety net. And in front of nearly 30 million viewers, a decorated war hero called Muhammad Ali, a coward. What followed over the next 12 minutes didn't just grip a nation, it rewrote reputations, reshaped perspectives, and etched itself into television history. If stories of composure under fire resonate, stay close. Moments like this reveal what character truly looks like when the spotlight burns brightest. Share a time when someone's response to criticism caught you off guard. Those stories matter. The red on-air light flickered ominously inside Studio 6B at NBC's Rockefeller Center. It was March 15, 1973. The stage was set for The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, but something felt off. Behind his desk, Johnny Carson adjusted his tie. Subtle, nervous, unusual. Two guests were about to walk out. Neither knew what was coming, and neither knew the collision they were about to create. First came Colonel James Patterson, 42, career military, a man carved out of discipline and duty. Across his chest, medals, heavy ones, not symbolic, earned. The Medal of Honor gleamed under studio lights, awarded after a brutal firefight near Da Nang, where he held off a Viet Cong assault for 6 relentless hours. 3 bullets in his body, his entire platoon alive because of him. Flanking it, 2 Purple Hearts and a Bronze Star with Valor. This wasn't just a soldier. This was a living embodiment of sacrifice. Raised in rural Kansas, Patterson came from a lineage of service, father in World War II, grandfather in World War I. Duty for him wasn't optional, it was inherited. He was there to promote his book, Leadership Under Fire. It was already making waves, military circles, boardrooms, anywhere people sought clarity under pressure. Then came the second guest, the most famous athlete on the planet, Muhammad Ali. Heavyweight champion, cultural lightning rod. He wasn't just stepping into a studio, he was stepping into controversy. Just 2 years earlier, the Supreme Court had overturned his conviction for refusing military induction. The nation was still split, admiration on one side, resentment on the other. But ratings? Guaranteed. Earlier that day, Ali had been in Harlem, a mosque, prayer, reflection. Something about him felt quieter than usual, centered. Now in the green room, though, the familiar charm returned, laughing, signing autographs, entertaining staff like a born performer. Dressed in a deep blue suit, silver tie, immaculate. Confident. Unaware. Completely unaware that the next hour would test him in ways no opponent ever had.
Carson opened with his usual rhythm. Jokes. Laughter. But underneath it, tension. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice steady but tight, "please welcome a true American hero, Medal of Honor recipient, Colonel James Patterson." The audience erupted. Patterson walked out like he always had, precise, composed, every step measured. The interview began smoothly. Stories of Vietnam, duty, honor, sacrifice. The audience leaned in, hooked. Every word carried weight, not opinion, experience. Then Carson asked a question. Simple, harmless on the surface. "What are your thoughts on those who chose a different path during the war?" A pause. A shift. Something hardened in Patterson's eyes. "Johnny," he said, leaning forward, voice firm, "when your country calls, you answer." The room stilled. Real men don't hide behind lawyers or religion. Real men don't let others fight and die while they make millions entertaining people at home. He never said the name. He didn't have to. Everyone knew. Carson shifted in his chair, uneasy. But Patterson wasn't done. There are men who call themselves the greatest, while real greatness was being proven in the jungles of Southeast Asia. His voice rose, sharper now. That's not courage. That's cowardice dressed up in fancy words. Silence. Thick. Suffocating. Across America, millions sat frozen. A war hero had just dismantled Muhammad Ali without him even being on stage.
And speaking of, Carson cut in quickly, forcing composure. We'll be right back after the break with Muhammad Ali. Perfect timing. Or the worst possible. Backstage, chaos. Producers scrambling, voices overlapping, panic creeping in. Ali's team rushed in, faces pale. "We can leave right now," his lawyer urged. "This is an ambush." Angelo Dundee nodded. "Champ, nobody would blame you." Even the network floated escape plans, technical issues, early sign-off, anything to avoid disaster. All eyes turned to Ali. He sat still, listening. Then quietly, "No." The room went still. "I'm going out there." No anger, no rush, just resolve. "That man deserves to hear my side." A pause. "And America deserves to see how we handle disagreement." The red light blinked again. Live. Ali stepped onto the stage. Same walk, same presence. But this wasn't a fight. Not the kind he was used to. Carson's introduction was brief. Awkward. Applause came, but softer. Hesitant. Ali sat beside Patterson. Two men. Two worlds. One moment. "You heard the comments," Carson said carefully. Ali nodded. Eyes locked on Patterson. The colonel didn't flinch. Ready. Waiting. Expecting fire. But it never came. Instead, Ali stood. Walked over. Extended his hand. "Colonel Patterson," he said, voice calm, almost gentle. "Thank you for your service." A ripple through the room. "I respect what you've done, and I respect that you spoke your mind." No sarcasm. No edge. Just sincerity. Patterson hesitated, then shook his hand. Cameras captured it. A single handshake. But it felt bigger.
Ali returned to his seat, leaned forward, not defensive, not aggressive, just human. "Colonel," he began, "you're right. When your country calls, you answer. A beat. But can I tell you about the country that called me?" Silence again. Different this time. Listening silence. "The country that called me wouldn't let me eat next to white children." His voice stayed steady. "Wouldn't let me sleep in the same hotels. Wouldn't even let me drink from the same water fountain." The room shifted. Something landed. The same America asking me to fight for freedom overseas was denying me freedom at home. Patterson's expression flickered. Subtle, but real. "You fought for freedom in Vietnam," Ali continued, "and I honor that. No hostility, only acknowledgement. But I was fighting for freedom right here." A pause. "I wasn't running from a fight. I was choosing my fight." The audience murmured. Not loud, but enough. A crack in certainty. Ali stood again, slowly pacing. "You and I, we're not so different, Colonel." He gestured lightly. "You used a rifle. I used my voice. You risked your life. I risked everything else. Career, title, freedom." Patterson listened. Really listened. For the first time. Ali's tone softened. "Every day, I think about men like you." A breath. "I wonder if my choice made things harder for you." The room went still again. But now, heavy with emotion. "What haunts me," Ali said quietly, "is not the criticism, not losing my title." He looked directly at Patterson. "It's wondering if I dishonored your sacrifice." Something broke. Not loudly, but unmistakably. Tears gathered in Patterson's eyes. The man who came to condemn now confronted something deeper.
Finally, he spoke. Muhammad. The name. Correct this time. I thought you were a coward. His voice cracked. I was wrong about you. Not about war. Not about duty. About the man. He stood. Straight-backed. But changed. You're not a coward. A different kind of soldier. Fighting a different war. Then it happened. The moment. Patterson extended his hand again. Not as a formality. As an apology. Ali took it and pulled him into an embrace. Live television. 30 million witnesses. Two opposing worlds. Colliding. Then, reconciling. I'm sorry, Patterson said, for judging you by my definition of courage. Ali smiled softly. You spoke your truth. That takes courage too. A beat. We chose different battles, but we fought for something bigger. Behind them, Johnny Carson wiped his eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, voice unsteady. This is something special. And it was. Not because someone won, but because no one needed to. That 12-minute exchange echoed far beyond the studio. Replayed. Studied. Debated. But more importantly, felt. Because in a divided nation, two men proved something rare. You don't need to agree to understand. And sometimes, the greatest victories don't come from fighting harder. They come from listening. Deeper.
The applause didn't explode. It rose slowly, almost uncertain at first, then building wave after wave until the entire studio stood on its feet. Not for a performance, for a moment. In living rooms across America, people sat frozen. Some had come expecting a verbal knockout, others a public humiliation. What they witnessed instead felt unfamiliar, disarming. Two men, once positioned as opposites, now standing in mutual respect. That night didn't end when the cameras cut. Backstage, the air still carried the weight of what had just unfolded. Crew members moved quietly. Conversations hushed. Eyes still wide. Muhammad Ali walked off the stage with the same calm he carried onto it. No celebration, no triumph. Just composure. Colonel Patterson stood alone for a moment, still processing. Then, slowly he turned and followed. They met again. No audience this time. No cameras. Just two men, without the pressure of millions watching. I meant what I said out there, admitted Patterson, voice lower now, stripped of its earlier edge. Ali nodded. I know. No bitterness, no resentment, just understanding. You made me see something I never considered, continued Patterson. Ali tilted his head lightly, listening. Courage isn't always what I thought it was. A long pause. Then Ali spoke, soft, deliberate. It takes strength to admit that. That brief exchange became the foundation of something unexpected. Not friendship overnight, but respect. Real, earned, unforced. In the weeks that followed, the moment spread like wildfire. Clips replayed on evening news broadcasts. Newspapers printed still images of that handshake, that embrace. Headlines didn't scream victory. They spoke of transformation. For many, it was the first time they saw Muhammad Ali not just as a fighter, but as a thinker. A man willing to stand firm without raising his voice.
A man who could absorb an attack and respond with grace instead of retaliation.
And Colonel Patterson, he returned to his world with something new. Not doubt, but depth. In interviews, his tone shifted. Not weaker, wiser. He still believed in duty, in service. But now he acknowledged something else. That conviction could exist in different forms. Years passed. The Vietnam War faded into history. But that night remained. The two men stayed in touch. Letters, occasional meetings, public appearances. An unlikely connection forged not in agreement, but in understanding. When Muhammad Ali later faced the slow, unforgiving grip of Parkinson's, Patterson didn't stay distant. He showed up, visited, supported. The same man who once questioned his courage now stood beside him. Because something had shifted that night, not just in a studio, but inside people. What was meant to be a confrontation became a lesson. Not about winning arguments, but about elevating them. Because real strength, it doesn't always look like dominance. Sometimes it looks like restraint, like listening, like choosing dignity when disrespect would be easier. And that's why that moment never faded. Because in a time of division, two men proved something rare. That even the deepest disagreements can lead somewhere better if someone is brave enough to respond with grace.